Why are you recording too? Stop it.
Huh?
Talking to my thing.
Can't fucking there we go. Yeah, no, I died. I didn't mean to fucking do what I did.
Hey, what's up, peoples?
We'll try that again. That's why I saved before I went down here.
Don't worry about it. The better question is, why not? Why not stream so late?
It's my favorite scary movies, 2.
3. Well, I appreciate that, Andrew's only one.
Okie dokie, Cameron.
Okay, so I can't clear the hotkey for that.
Well, don't bring it here, Stanley. That's all I ask. Try this again.
Let me turn on this stuff.
Oh, we'll take Kingdom Hearts.
Joypad, let me change real quick. Make the speed button shift.
Wait, leave people alone, for fuck's sake.
Or maybe, let me see. We'll do plus, I guess. Pad plus. Alright. And let me turn on the music. Turn on
Give me my heels first. Give me my heels first. Or not.
Or not? Why is it lagging like that? Okay. Fine.
My question is, what didn't Pachoy do?
Yeah, Yu Hakusho is pretty freaking great. Love it. Okay, girl.
I have to attack one at a time.
Don't worry about it.
I can't attack everything at once. Doesn't work that way.
Not that I know of. Let's see, names. Let's go with name choice. Go, guys.
I really want to kick. Wow. Okay, they really do not like Wolfie right now. Yeah, but I don't want to waste my MP right now.
What about Goku Fresh Gamer? But yeah, name choice.
MP as I can.
Jeff. You know what? Oops.
Yeah, they were really picking on Wolfie. Fuck.
Because of that's the most recent follower. That's why. I'm not gonna name it Goku, especially because it's a chick.
Fuck. Platonically, maybe, Getro. Well, bully him back, Angel. You can be savage when you want to be. I know you can.
I'm not gonna name it anything Dragon Ball related. Come up with something original, guys.
Yeah, what the fuck, guys?
Fuck it. We'll go with Lily then.
You have my permission to bully Raylan.
Raylan's a towel.
He is a tech.
He is indeed a towel. Okay, and our rival's name. What should our rival be? His hair is pink, so let's.
Pokemon?
Yeah. His hair is pink, so we'll name him. Candy.
Candy's nuts fit in your mouth. Nailed it.
I can't fit Candy Sloot. We'll just name him Sloot.
Oh shit. AOCL.
Yo.
Have you ever had any candy?
Not lately. No, why?
Candy's nuts fit in your mouth. Nailed it.
I knew there was a catch to that.
Nice. I just came up with that. I've never heard anyone use that before. Came up with that on the spot today, just
Well,
now.
I'm basically grinding and going through the story.
Failing.
I was grinding and going.
Y'all seen her fail?
Nailed it.
Fuck.
Nailed it.
Only one guy. Come on.
Okay, so this is a Pokemon Crystal remake, and it has all the Pokemons up until Generation
What,
7.
am I making copy because I'm...
Mega Evolution, Primal Evolution, all that's in here. Fairy type, everything.
I did not find Ninja Girl, no.
Hot Wings, get pizza. Pizza's much better. Also, hi Arthur.
Pizza's amazing.
I love pizza.
I love wings.
I know he's live.
That show.
But why? Had here for me.
Thank you for the follow. I didn't see what it was in time. But yeah, hi. I'm good.
You leave that cloud alone. My favorite Dragon Ball series? Z.
We're gonna go with Cyndaquil. Just because Cyndaquil's awesome. Don't at me.
Cyndaquil is awesome, though.
Well, I've done way more than Xenoverse 2, so you should probably go watch that. I finished Xenoverse 2 almost a year and a half ago. I've done way more since then. You're missing out.
The game's dead.
It is. It really is.
That game needs to fucking die.
Oh shit, it's the one chick from Omega Ruby and Sapphire. That dragon trainer lady, I forget what her name is.
Hey guys, no role playing in my chat, please and thank you.
What, Xenoverse 2? Hell no. The game's dead. And I have done more of a lot of other things. Oh, it's an Entei. Come here, you. Oh? They could. Damn it. Mystic water.
Heroes is honestly good. I like Heroes.
Yeah, Fresh Gamer, I do way much more than just Xenoverse 2. If you have not checked out everything else that I do on my channel, that is your loss, sir. And/or madam.
Bars. Bars.
Ah, and the Raikou left.
God
Oh,
damn
it gave me a Thunderstone.
damage that just did.
Yeet. I need to get a
Hey, Frieza.
Pikachu or something.
What
Though.
do I take a Tokyo Ghoul? I never did finish that. Like, I started watching it, but never really finished it.
Can we get a CL is trash in the chat, please and thank you? So then again, to be fair, I haven't watched any of Tokyo Ghoul, so.
I was gonna say, so you can't say shit.
So do and well, you'll also like my Stewie, my Joe Swanson, my Goofy, my Mickey, all the other shit I do on my freaking channel. I do way more than Goku. Kiltano, I will slap you with my...
Did Kiltano go into your chat just to
Just put exclamation point Discord in the chat, Eliza.
Nose is itchy.
Scratch it, stupid.
I just did, bitch. How dare you? My nose is my top priority. You act like I wouldn't care for it. How could you?
How dare you? Hey, stocking up on them berries. Yeah, it's
of course you're gonna give her the death sentence.
It's a hack of Fire Red where everything up to Gen 7 is in the game, and yeah.
They actually went through and coded where to place all the other Pokemon that had to take.
Yep.
What's this called?
Shiny Gold Sigma.
Shiny Gold Sig.
Yep. Shiny Gold Sigma.
Swallow.
It's a Pokemon Crystal remake that has everything up to Gen 7. So, what's up?
How's it going, dude?
Always it gold,
Favorite
bro.
Favorite legendary Pokemon? I like Lunara.
Dude, you're blowing.
Honestly, you had one coming. It didn't matter if it ended up in my mouth or not, but you had it coming.
I understand, though. Okay, so the plot, from what I can tell, is.
No one wanted to fill it in. I said, dude, I'd be honest.
Be honest, dude?
Yeah, dude, look down, dude.
Dude.
that is Mark Anger talking in the back. This won't be fun.
Dude. Yeah, I got a Cyndaquil. For the most part, the plot of the game is pretty much the same as the original Pokemon Crystal. I think the only thing they changed is they added new shit at the end of it. I think. I don't fucking know.
Somebody must have bribed them to do that then, Ellie.
Also, hi, Andrea. Yeah, you've told me about those. Fuck this guy's Totodile, dude. What bastard has double team? God damn you. Why? For what reason should I do a Goku impression? Are you going to donate to me? I'll do Goku all for the rest of the stream. People constantly keep donating. Unless you do that, it ain't happening. I'm sorry. I'm not here to do voices and shit. I'm here to be myself and play. Play games.
Listening to Gur roast his chat right now, just talking to you guys.
I'm fine. Yeah, if you want me to do my Goku, then donate $2.
Oh,
Donate something. Then we'll think about it.
Donate exactly 12 cents.
Oh, dude.
So y'all came over and told me anyway. That's all right.
I wouldn't mind. Go ahead. Go for it.
They really tried to get you to walk out of building there. Oh my god.
Oof.
It's all right there. Ooh,
Fuck,
hello
I'm
there.
probably gonna have to summon here.
That's tempting, but I'd rather have the storm flip right now.
You know the saying, if you do anything well, never do it for free. So I'm not going to do Goku for free. If you want me to do it, pay me.
I said, pay me, bitch.
You won't do it.
Oh my god.
You won't do it. You won't.
One down.
No, I'm just playing through the game at the moment. Andrea.
Who's the guy who isn't Malzar? Sounds like
Yeah, you can. Streamlabs.com/this is Gur. How you doing?
That threw me
No,
off. Right
I'm
there.
not on Hydro. Nobody's handling the stream. That was a silly question.
Don't mind CL, she's being trash.
I'm not gonna be able to make it off.
I am not being trash. You shush.
Gotta go this way.
I hate this next section.
Sliding down the mountain because they finally made it so we can. Yeah.
At some point, I will go shiny hunting on here, though. Pain in the ass.
I will do more reactions when I can.
So you got a
Dude,
donation?
leave Goofy alone, you
Think
jerk.
about it, me?
Bars.
Well, there's a donation. All right. I guess I do think I'm better than you. Okay.
Legend of Dragon.
All right. Do Goofy. Sang what, Ryuku?
I have to get
Riku? How do I pronounce that? I'm sorry, I butchered that. But saying what is Goofy? You paid for it, so what do you want? And what the? Why didn't? Am I supposed to go talk to my mother? Is that why Thor didn't advance? I think that's why. Go check.
No. Cool.
I'm gonna fuck you up, Donald. Hear me, bitch.
Fuck, I missed the second one.
What the? Where the hell? What am I supposed to do?
Well, damn, Raylan.
Oh,
Right later, Hydra.
there you go. Okay.
Right later,
Ta-da.
Kevin.
Speaking of which, I need to get MJ and Donald together so we can record some more KH3.
I hate this fucking thing.
Foot coin, 2 running shoes, good shit.
Oh, looks like someone's hosting you. Neat.
Hey, thank you for the host. The one viewer host. You were already here. What was the point?
I have it turned off, so it doesn't even show up unless you host more than one person. Well, you know, it'll show up, but it won't make a sound unless you have unless you have at least 2 people. It'll just say in the chat they hosted me.
Ow!
I do appreciate it, though. I appreciate it, the sentiment, but, like, you were already here. What was the point of that? No, I don't need you to show me how to catch Pokemons. I'm smart. Yay. Oh, shit. Do I not have Ember yet? I don't. What the? CL is trash. You can't help it.
I am not.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Okay, so we need to get a Flaffy or Mareep or whatever the fuck Ampharos' boss. So that's our first goal. We need to get an EV for Espeon. Ah, fuck.
Hey, Brandon Murphy, how are you?
Freaking sand attack me? Well, open his in a separate window, I guess. Or tab, whatever. Blah, 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 blah. The bridge is being a scrub and isn't over here with us. See how it is? So racist. So racist.
That's why he's a man-ho.
So racist that he's not in here. I'm offended.
What, does he think he's better than me?
Right. So disrespected.
People finally weren't fucking water kicked. About fucking time.
You like turtles? That's cool, bro. It'd be great if I had Ember. Yeah, Mark, that's you echoing. It only does it sometimes, but it is happening.
I don't know what's going on with Discord. Take a look.
Antidote.
You know what? Fuck it. I ain't even gonna bother with the boxes. I just want to get up here.
Can I have Ember, please? Good lord. Come on now. Thank you.
Oh my god, there's a trap there. Holy shit.
Fucking Tifa hitting those fucking crits like crazy.
I don't think we can go and get my Reap just yet.
Ow.
Favorite Pokemon generation? Probably. I don't know. Maybe 6?
What's up, Raikou?
I don't think I can go down there just yet. Can't get. Can't go get my Reap. I'm sad.
God damn, that hurts.
Gotta get a
Oh
Ghastly
my
or
god,
something.
that actually got me, dude. Really? 4 kills down for nothing. This is this dude's first kill. Yeah, the damn rocket launcher.
Once again, I don't mind doing impressions, but donate for it. That way I'm getting paid for, catering and
Damn.
shit.
That way it's incentive.
It gives me an incentive to do it, and it's also,
He doesn't
it becomes
give you snow
special,
and
and,
Oh, I
then
had
people
to
can
eat
request specifically what they want me to say and all that
it
shit.
becomes
And
personal.
it doesn't become,
Makes gherkin buy sandwiches.
yeah.
Later, Drexler. Can you join my Discord? As long...
What you think you're better than me?
as you're 13, yeah.
Did you get a donation, Mark?
No,
Hi,
I just
Giraffity.
had that on.
Hey, we're about to get a Quilava. Yeet.
Okay, so I'm gonna take Angel's advice and use an X-Potion on this guy.
Oh, I think
Apparently
I'm
it does
watching
damage.
now.
Yeah,
I see something.
I like, Mega Evolution and all that. There's
you
a
have to be 13
friggin'
to be on
Abra.
my Discord.
Watch me miss this motherfucker. I'm gonna miss.
Oh no, everything's turned all the way up.
Oh, yeet, I caught it. Wait.
Are you sure this is the one with the, I'm gonna take your advice.
Don't worry about it, it's fine.
Yeah, yeet. The yawest of yeets.
Goober dollars? Sure. Bits are also acceptable, guys. Bits are free. Gotta catch that gas. Give me that Ghastly.
What's up, Frieza's the greatest.
Yeet. Alright, cool.
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing tonight? I'm up later than usual. I should be going to bed soon so I can get a nice start tomorrow, but whatevs. Summertime. I gotta
God
watch these
damn!
videos
Okay, Angel, thank you for the
whenever.
tip. I just one-shot him.
Oof.
I don't press randoms.
You goofy goober!
Well then. So, X-Potion one-shots that thing.
Okay. Blah 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 blah.
So, Mark, if you want to easily beat the boss in the Cosmo Canyon Cave,
Typhlosion is best
Win.
fire starter. Just saying. Don't at me. Fuck are you? Oof. Escape rope, where you at? I do not remember. Hold on one sec. Cheats.
hey, Jake,
I do have, yeah, I have a game chart codes on this.
yeah,
Pokeballs are
I did not
100%
know
catch
before,
rate. And I can catch trainers' Pokemon. Heat.
Oh, dude, poor guy. Poor guy just got eliminated. Like it was fucking nothing. Oh my god.
You rock slide me, you
That
prick.
was wrong what I just did to that poor man. He never had a chance.
Oof. Level
There's the green
18.
pump. Oh my god, dude. Poor guy.
Heal again. I
He just wanted to open
doubt
the
I'm going to be
chest.
able to beat this dude, but whatever.
My god, bro. That fucking poor guy, dude. Oh my lord.
No, I got Ember.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that trick back when I first played this.
Hello, Crossfire. How's it going, dude? And don't do that.
What am I doing for summer? Basically what I'm doing now.
I told you she's trash. She has no plans.
Shut up, girl.
Ugh. Dude, I was on his face. If I would have got that next shot off, that would have been it. It was right, that crosshair was on his face, dude.
19. Ew, a Noctowl.
Dude, you're the one that got knocked, bro.
You're the one who got knocked. So funny.
I didn't realize he was undead was the problem.
What's up?
Check this out right here, Corm. Llama on llama action, bro.
You're the one who got knocked.
Oh, dude.
So my Quilava is not strong
I
enough to take that Noctowl out. That's a problem. I need an electric Pokemon. I don't think I can get one yet. Hello? I need an electric type. I can't get my Reap yet. Let me through.
Well, I didn't know.
Yeah, I can't go over there yet. Shit. I need an electric type. Or a rock type, something that can kill that thing. No. Is trash.
Well, I've been streaming for a good, I want to say, hour and a half. Or how about no, Elijah? I don't do Fortnite.
I gotta find somewhere to
Oh,
grind
bars,
then.
dude.
Yep, I gotta grind a little.
Motherfucking bars, dude.
You're the one who got knocked.
You're the one who got knocked.
There's nowhere to grind. Need some place to grind.
Dude, your fucking beard's weird.
Yelling at the mic.
Why are you yelling at the mic?
I do have a PS4, yes. Hey, Tate.
Shit. I don't have anywhere to grind at. Level 19 ain't enough. This is the problem. You'd have to pay me for that because I do not care for Minecraft. Not my thing. Tried it, did not like it.
But I still nailed it.
I understand.
You found my Discord? It should be in my description anyway if y'all need it.
I guess we'll just go in and hope for the best. Hi, Shayla. Pokemans what's up? Playing some Pokemans. You like Pokemans? Because that's what we got. We got Pokemans. Alright, I'm going to try this tactic this time. Oh shit. Okay, that ain't gonna work. Fuck.
Yeah, but fuck it.
Nope. Fuck. I'm gonna die. Damn it. That is a big oof. It can't be put to sleep and it can't lose accuracy. That is a huge problem for me. Shit. How am I gonna kill this thing?
Oh, guess where we're heading?
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Oh, hi, big guys. Fuck you all up. I do not, Elijah, no. Why are you sleeping?
Is it trash?
Damn.
Yeah, but I already beat all the trainers there. Not an option anymore.
I
Somebody
am
sleepy
going to try to
jackass.
get Vincent here. Because I know Vincent's in this area.
Yay, you did it. We got it. Eat. Alright, cool. I don't care for Minecraft though.
Hey,
Not
OG.
fun to me. Roblox either. Or Fortnite. Not my style of game. Don't like it. You're the one who got knocked.
You're the one who got knocked.
Okay, we got our.
I don't add random people on Discord, Elijah. Sorry.
We just got our Togepi, so that's cool. Go down here, catch my reap.
Okay, remind me when, or tell me when I get there, Angel. Don't tell me now. I'm not gonna remember.
Here, you beautiful sheep, you.
Yeah, I will give you Vincent. You can be Vincent.
Well, you're the one who got knocked.
You're the one who got knocked. But wait till I at least get there to give me the command.
Ooh, it actually has really good stats too. Let's get it. My Quilava's stats are terrible though, which is unfortunate. We'll have to replace him. But yeah, that Mareep stats are actually pretty friggin' good.
Hey, that one anime dude with the $2 super chat. Thank you.
Well, you're the one who got knocked.
Shut up, girl. Oh, elixir. Nice.
Huh, neat. Oh, Quilava is unfortunately going to have to be replaced by something else on the team because them stats are poop. Or I could take the time to, you know, restart the game from start and
Yeah,
keep
I'm not
trying to
gonna remember the
roll for a new
combination right away, like,
Syndical, but no.
like,
Nah, not this time. No nicknames this time. Oh, this hop hip's gonna. Stop it. Stop healing yourself, you bastard. You're the one who got
well,
knocked.
Mark's up too. Mark's just being a cow. That's what he's doing.
Mark is doing his best. Stop judging him.
Ooh, hello. I'll take that weapon.
You're the one who got knocked.
Oh, no, I won't. What I have is better. Never mind.
I'm kicking my ass. Divine! I don't. Unless you're my Lily, I don't think I know any other Android 21s. Probably not. I don't know you yet. But then again, she changed her YouTube name to Little Monster VA, so I don't think you are.
No worries, Titan.
You're the one who got knocked.
Lock doors.
Gotta go heal again. Shit. Gotta train our sheep.
Double growth? Pay attention to that? I know, but it brings their stats down. That's the
Yeah,
problem.
I don't know you well enough then.
Play the piano?
You're the one who got knocked. When the hecky does Mareep learn Thunder Shock? Agreed, Dylan. Go play Chrono Trigger. You're welcome. Made by Square Enix and the same dude that does all the animation and shit for Dragon Ball and the manga and all that crap. The cotton candy sheep is dying.
I think you're playing the piano.
I do have
Hey,
Thunder
okay.
Shock now, though, which is going to be useful. Oh, look, it's snowing. Hey, move out of the way. Alright. We are just grinding at the moment
I
to get
don't
our
do
sheep.
shoutouts, LaShawn, but I will say hi and welcome to the stream. How about that?
Well, you're the one who got knocked.
Radical. You're the one who got knocked. Alright, we're going into the mansion, boys.
Hey, look, another sheep. We're gonna run away from that because static is the thing. That's an onyx. We don't want any part of that. No. Give me like a wingle or something. Alright,
Titan, how's yours? Fuck your silence. I'll just beat you up with brute force.
exactly. Hashtag you're the one who got knocked. Yeah. Probably pick up some potions, but it's fine. Okay, maybe it's not fine. It's not fine. This is not fine. It's almost dead. Very not fine. Yeah, of course the sheep is foo-fooier than you. It's made out of cotton candy. Cotton candy sheep. Oh, what do you end his stream? Eat.
That quickly? Damn. Usually he streams longer.
Yeah, if cats are floofs, then sheep are definitely super floofs. Because they're super floofy. Even more than cats. And you're the one who got knocked.
Oh, this is gonna hurt. Ow!
Stop being trash. Ugh, having to heal so much is terrible.
I'm gonna bolt to all y'all.
They are no, they're our allies. The cats have aligned with the sheep. Marip evolves at level 15, right? I think. Someone confirm that for me.
Hey, Bridge!
I can't think of one. You put me on the spot. I don't know. Once upon a time, there was a princess. She got super fat because she liked to eat cake and stuff, and she got so fat that one day she died. I guess. I don't know.
Ow. I hate these guys. You gotta hit them just right, Hoku, right?
Fine. You're the one who got knocked.
Ooh, that did some damage.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Okay, good.
Welcome, Muffin Raider. Also, Abridged, what the hell did Ataka put you up to?
Don't worry about it.
You do what you did.
Don't worry about it.
I heard something.
Don't worry about it.
I know he did. I am gonna worry about it. Don't you take your slack?
Don't worry about it. You're the one who got knocked. Alright, if memory serves me correctly, there is a Pokemon Center down here, so I don't need to run all the way back up. Okay, and there's level 15. Yeet, we got a Flappy now. Now it's a pink sheep. Go up here and get this Pokeball.
Left 10.
And gold, we'll go ahead and kill that.
9.
I understand. Well, you're the one who got knocked.
97.
I think that's a Soothe Bell over there. And I think this dude gives me a...
Wait, hold on. Right, 36.
Old Rod, okay.
Left 10.
I do not remember where we can get a Dratini. Yeah, Dratini will be one of the things we pick up at some point.
How did that fail? I think it might change.
Either that
every
or
time.
Larvitar. For the same reasons. Actually, it'd be good to have both. For different reasons. Dragonite and Tyranitar are pretty awesome. And the best water type we can get in the game probably is going to be Lapras. When I think about it. Which is in this cave, but I need Surf in order to do it.
There we go. Never mind. I just went past the thing.
I have played it. It's not bad.
Oh, I gotta get past this without dying now. This guy's a dick. Fuck.
Nice. Yeah, Flaffy's pretty awesome. So is Ampharos. I don't have an EXP share yet, and it makes me sad. Which is better, Quick Attack or... Okay, Quick Attack is better than Tackle. Okay.
Ow!
Yeah, I would pick up a Sandshrew, but it's not an Alolan one, which I can get later.
I don't really know you, Ninja Cat, so no.
DL can't help what she is.
Shut up, girl.
Hey, they said it, not me. I understand.
Some haste going. That's gonna hurt. Ow.
After you, Machop. Oh, I don't have cut. That's a problem. Catch your berry, I'll take that.
Thank you for the follow. There we go.
Nothing over here. What was the point of that? Alright then. Oh.
Alright, let's take this fucker down.
Pokebot case. Where the... What's my favorite Pokemon? Sylveon, probably. Sylveon's pretty great.
That did some damage.
Well, you're the one who got knocked.
You're the one who got knocked.
Watched Hairspray today.
Hello, Filthy Tails!
You're a cow!
Did you enjoy the raid?
I did.
Giggity.
What
I'm
the
kind
hell
of mad.
did Otaku put you up to?
I'm kind of mad because 62 people was supposed to join and barely half that joined.
Welcome,
Oh,
Black Abridged.
We were gonna raid you, girl, but they picked CL over you for some reason.
Why? Because she has boobs? Is that why? That's
Probably.
sexist. That's
Probably.
sexist. I'm offended.
Less characters will be easier. Well, all right, Cynic. Well, I'll restructure the script the way you want with less characters, and then you can animate it that way. You can structure around that. Maybe I'll just get like maybe no more than 3 or 4 characters instead of like 5 and 6. Like
You're the one who got knocked.
maybe I'll think of something. I'll let you know, but yeah. I am so disappointed with my raid. It should have been all 62 people. I want to surprise you with 62 people and get you over Malzar. Because he was at 66 and I was at 62. I was like, we're getting dangerously close to freaking Mark's level of views. And then I was gonna dump them all on you. Or Gur. But they went with CL, the one with the boobies.
I'd say Espeon is more of a fox cat. Both a fox and a cat at the same time.
This game takes me back.
I've actually never played Final Fantasy 7.
Oh, you missed out.
No, I'm not. It's not the story. I'm sure the story is great. It's just I hate the graphical style, so I didn't bother.
I don't think we ever hit 70. I don't think we hit 62 as far as what I saw on my side. It's okay, Gareth. If it makes you feel any better, I voted for your raid. Amber said she voted for you to get rated.
Thank you for the follow, Phoenix. Should I bother with that slowpoke? Nope, we're not gonna catch it.
Sure. Apparently, there's something on VR chat that needs my attention, so I'm gonna go join them for a bit.
I'm not gonna survive this.
Guys, from my YouTube side, let's go. I'm gonna head over to VR chat for a bit. All right, I'm gonna go head over to VR chat and see what's up with these guys.
Have fun.
Okay.
Thanks. Enjoy your raid.
Bye.
See you, bud.
Who was that guy?
How the hell do you get past that part?
Don't worry about it.
What am I missing?
Don't worry about it.
Someone's following you.
Thank you for the follow,
But why
Kobe.
there?
Exactly. Why there? Why are you following me? I'm not leading you anywhere.
You just got done live streaming Roblox.
But why there?
How the fuck are you? Am I not strong enough to fight that thing yet, or? Hit it with all magic. Oh, okay. Gotcha. So start with magic, and then when he transforms, then hit it with physical?
You're following me, but why there? I have not. I don't even know what that is. Blah, 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 blah. That's
Okay.
level 7. Switching Cassidy, already. I don't have Rock Smash. That's a big oof. To heal my lava, heal Laffy as well. Over here. Beat this dude.
Okay, so I need to nail him with magic first, and then when he trains, wail on him. Gotcha.
I know, right, Dylan? No, I haven't, though. Lily has been trying to get me to watch My Hero. I will at some point. When she sits down and watches it with me, I'm not gonna watch it by myself. That'll be what we have to do together. But yeah. I don't think I can catch a Ralts over here. I'm gonna try. Let me see. Because I would take that over a Abra any day. Should be a Ralts over here, I think.
Ow.
Someone's following you. But why there?
Exactly. Why there? Why the original card? Why are you following me? I'm not leading you anywhere. Why there? I've watched the first 13 episodes of My Hero. I did like it.
Some first got it.
Bloody blah, blah.
Later, Raylan.
They said one Pokemon were like insanely rare on this. So I probably won't find a Ralt. Kind of hoping. Gardevoir is Amazeballs.
Also, hi, Taku.
Which also raises a problem because if I happen to do find a Ralt, it has to be female to be a Gardevoir. And that is not likely to happen. Oh, hey, look, Artography.
I'm aware, Aaron. I'm aware.
We'll try 2 more of these. If we don't get one,
Hello,
then
Vegeta.
we'll move on.
Okay, I need the combination again there, Angel.
But why there?
But why though?
Go beat the hell out of Bugsy.
Didn't have any power.
I have the power. I have more power than you can possibly imagine.
You didn't have any power.
I have the power, yes.
You have no power. If you had power, then where's your power at, bitch?
On Gate Beach.
come get, bitch. I did not want to have to do that. Up until that point, they were very nice to me.
Freaking stupid.
I did not want to have to do that. Up until that point, Brian, they were very kind to me.
You're the one who got knocked.
You're the one who got knocked.
I was scared. Ugh. Ow.
Well, no, that's only female Kibralias or whatever the fuck they're called can evolve into fucking Gardevoir. Same thing with Gallade. They can't. Yeah, it's gender based. You're the one who got knocked. And yeah, I agree. Gardevoir is way better than
Hey,
Alakazam.
finalist from Brother Malachi. Necosia money for catnip.
Well, I don't have EXP shares, so what are my options here? Like, I need to level this Togepi, and that's a Kakuna, so like, there's literally nothing you can do to me. See, it's the one who got knocked. See, it's Silicone. Yeah, it's Togepi's job. Just use Endeavor 2 times in a row. Are you kidding me?
Ow.
What, you think you better than me? They're not letting me use. Okay, it is. Switch out.
Oh, don't. Fuck.
Well, you're the one who got knocked.
Should have cared when I didn't care in time.
And that is why you fail. Yep, the baby did throw a Shadow Ball. I'm not sure when I get a shiny stone. Because I'm gonna need that to evolve my Togetic. Time is right.
Come on.
I would have the music and stuff playing, guys, but I'm playing this game at around 500% speed, so it wouldn't sound like coherent stuff if I were to do so.
Because you're the one that got knocked, dude.
I thought you were.
Nah, dude.
You're the one who got knocked. You're super.
You're the one who got knocked.
Oh, he went red. Okay.
Okay, we kicked the shit out of Bugsy. He got X Scissor. That don't know
So
how to
now
go.
I'll kick his ass.
Go heal. Kick Boots' ass.
Later, Roblox kid.
Well, you're the one who got knocked.
Oh shit, he's gonna fucking poison me. Oh, he missed.
Oof. Oh, you bastard. Stop using super punches.
Oh, I know,
Yep.
right, Sean? Ow.
Can't scream at the moment, it makes me sad. Or I totally would scream who wears short shorts, I wear short.
Didn't work, bitch.
Oof. Oh, I got an egg. Hopefully it's a Pichu. Think it's a Pichu. Hope it's a Pichu.
Odin.
Well, you're the one who got knocked.
Hey, thank you for the sub midnight. Appreciate that.
Ass ketchup.
And now we go down to get Vincent. Oh, this guy's gonna hurt.
Fine.
Not fine.
It's fine. Got cut. Don't think the
Ow.
we shit. We need to teach that to something. Me and Oddish. Me and Oddish. Be stingy.
Yeah.
Me and Oddish. Need an Oddish.
Fart fuckers. Third party. Not third party. That was just bad one-on-one. I felt shouldn't have went down. Should not have went down. Should not have done it.
Actually,
Had
before I
high
even
ground, should
do
have kept it.
that, let's get the fuck out of this mansion and go save.
You
Let's
won't
get
do
the
it.
fluff out of there.
You won't do it.
Seal, you won't do it. Yeah, you won't. You won't do nothing, Seal. You're a fucking poo-poo head.
You're a fucking cow.
How dare you disrespect him like that?
Exactly.
How dare you disrespect him like that?
Who do you think you are?
Alright, Sandshrew, where you at? There we go. You're the one who got knocked.
Because if I don't save, I feel like I'm gonna die going down to this freaking basement.
Seal, you're the one that got knocked, alright?
How dare you?
Probably. It probably is wet. I don't know. Could be. It's water. Are you kidding me? Oh, wait. It's in the PC.
Also, hi, Johnny, if you're still here.
You're the one who got knocked.
Exactly, bro. Exactly, dude. Fucking told you.
I don't know yet. I did my drug test and physical and all that stuff yesterday. And yeah. I'll call them again tomorrow.
First day, they're gonna be like, "Hey, dude, welcome black."
That's not okay. We're gonna get rid of the Abra because we don't really need it. Ralts would be nice. Don't come in my streams in Zarbon mode. My nipples. Yeah, hi. What's up, Jake Iron? How are you doing? How's it going, dude?
What's up, Elijah?
Oh my god, dude. Fucking really, that's so great.
Do not remember
Ezra,
how
you
to
want me to
trigger.
be cute? Why?
I don't know how
You
to
want me
trigger
to go on
Celebi.
meow?
There, son of a bitch.
Fuck.
Oddish would show up when I no longer need it. Bastard. Yeah, if I had a Dratini, that'd be great. I don't think I can get one anytime soon, though.
Oh, Benny
Maybe.
got 47 Dratini.
Maybe I can get one in Goldenrod. I don't know. Maybe. We'll find out.
Say goldenrod. Holy shit, you're getting goldenrods in your mouth. That's impressive.
Exactly.
Whose dick did you have to suck for that one?
Bruh, you know, it'd be actually really cool to have an actual golden shower. Not like the sexual act, like a legit golden shower. Like a shower made out of solid gold. That'd be pretty cool. Then you could like, yo, you want to have a golden shower? People will be all weirded out and shit. No, it's an actual golden shower, bro. What's up, Joe? You're the one who got knocked.
You're the one who got knocked.
Alright, before I go down in this basement, we're gonna take a 5-minute break because I gotta potty. So I will BRB. Entertain my chat.
She's not coming back, chat.
Shut up, Mark.
She's not.
She said she's leaving you guys forever because you're the ones that got knocked.
I was there when that happened. I saw it. You were, in fact, the ones who got knocked.
You had to be there. It was crazy.
Ooh, I can get a Riolu.
I'm pretty sure Brian banged a dude.
Okay. Well, I need to pick up a Charmander, a Larvitar, and a Riolu. And a Dratini. I need to spend all my money on fucking coins. And not get knocked.
You don't want to get knocked, bro. You get knocked, everybody's gonna laugh at you, man. It's gonna be crazy.
They're all gonna laugh at you.
Brian, I don't want to be the one that got knocked, Brian.
Okay, we're gonna save it there. And we're
You
gonna...
should have thought about that before you let yourself get knocked, Stewie.
But Brian, I don't want to be the one who got knocked. That's unfortunate, Starkid. Very unfortunate. Sorry that happened to you. Very racist that it did. I'm gonna go back over there and save it. We'll go for Charmander first. Come back for Dratini and all the others. Because that Quilava stats are ass, and that's not gonna cut it. So we need to get a better fire starter. So let's save it again. Grab Charmander. See, those are decent. We'll re-roll again just in case, but I'm gonna do a save state because those stats are actually pretty decent. That's not bad. Save game, save state. All right, file.
They just found a random guy cutest on there.
Charmander.
Dude, once upon a time in the world of rhyme, someone farted, but then they realized that they
Okay,
actually sharted.
See, that one's poop. Let's see here.
And then they were like bars, but they were poopy bars, so they didn't really count. They didn't matter.
Trying to get a perfect Charmander. Let's go. Defense is shit. Reset. Exactly. It's the only thing you gotta name your Tyranitar Godzilla. That's just how things work. It'd be stupid for me not to.
Yeah, but dude, you're the one that got knocked, man.
Okay, see, that's even better. S is an attack. Defense. Speed is pretty good. The other one had A's in pretty much everything, though. Another save state. Compare the two real quick. S, S, C, C, B plus. For you. B. Oh yeah, that one's better. I think that's probably the best one we're gonna get. So we need to go level this Charmander.
I have to turn.
Damn it. I mean, hi.
Well then.
Shit, she's back. Stop talking about her.
Y'all are mean.
Fine,
Chat,
don't
she
worry
might
about
be
it.
able to see that. Don't say that. She's here again.
Fine. It's fine. I don't remember where to get EXP share. And it's a bad time.
Hi, Angel.
When I lay down for bed tonight, I smoke a bunch of weed and watch Rick and Morty. Good game plan.
Is it on friggin'
It's on Hulu.
is it on Hulu?
Yeah.
That's probably a good idea for me too. Ask my mom for some weed. Sure, she'd give it to me. Like brownies or something. Yeah, Mothra is indeed best girl. And Mark's the one who got knocked.
What? Why
Dude,
are
you're
y'all
the one
not
who got
talking shit on me?
When
Y'all
we're
are just mean.
when we're talking shit on Koi, that's when.
As we all should be doing together all the time.
Yep. Yeah. Mega Evolution is also a thing in this game, so I will be getting a Mega Charizard, which will be nice. So I do need to level this thing. Oh shit. Please don't. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. It got quiet and I'm scared.
I can't.
Dude, your mom got scared how big my dick was.
I
Nailed
can't
it.
remember if I was supposed to
I
say
understand.
that or tell him about Sephiroth.
Well, you're the one who got knocked.
Dude, how dare you?
You're the one who got knocked.
Oof, that's a big oof, Starkid. Big oof. I never really watched Etika. I didn't even know who he was until that whole thing happened. But yeah, rest in peace. Don't know the circumstances of his death, but yeah. Also, rest in peace, Michael Jackson. Today's the 10-year anniversary of when he passed away. I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
Alright, Angel, you get Vincent.
Well, you were the one who got knocked.
Well, good to hear, Kaneki.
Ah, you prick.
Yep, Angel requested Vincent, so Angel gets Vincent.
The original Sasuke.
Dude, Vincent is badass though. Can you be Sid? No, I'm saving Sid for someone else.
Do I have enough money to go buy more stuff? I don't.
Okay, so now we leave. Okay. Oh, hi, Steffi.
Yeah. Ooh, Metal Claw. Neat. Alright. Just training up my Charmander. Fuck are you, Meryl?
Oh, I did, Angel. He's just badass.
Hey, look at Pikachu.
North past Mount Nibel. Dick! Throwing shit at me.
Yelling at the mic.
You yelling at the mic, bro?
She is. I heard her.
Destruct materia. What's that?
Don't worry about it.
I am worried about it because it might be useful. Deep air. Ooh, that'll come in handy for Steffi later. So we're gonna put that on her.
Charizard was terrible, man.
Hi, Caboose.
And this Vulpix is being an asshole. Stop roaring, you bitch. Stop it. Stop it.
Nah, I think Sid is going to Mark.
Hey, I'm Fluff. And I'm not so Fluff. Oh, fuck. I didn't mean to put out. So it could be. It's fine. You know what?
Oh, you
Get
too,
some
Kaneki.
ass, let's go.
Give me that Magme. That Magme's mine. Oh, or not. What? Why didn't my skill trainer's Pokemon
Not
thing
at the
work?
moment, Caboose.
How's it going, dude?
How's it going, dude?
Dude, look down, dude.
Dude. Dude, you really shouldn't have. Why'd you do
Dude,
that?
it's the least I could do. Don't hold back either. When you got a blow, just let it go, man.
Are you fucking kidding me? I hate when they use super potions and shit. Die.
We will put Vincent in the party, but I gotta get out of here first.
Okay, I need to go heal. Speaking of heal, he's a towel. Biggest towel I know.
He is a towel.
Pretty much moved in with his girlfriend now.
Mm-hmm.
Can I still get UP here, or do I have to go back to where he originally was?
I don't fucking know. Don't ask me. Back in my neat. Okay. Are you serious? Bruh. Look at how much HP that thing has left. I call shenanigans. That's bullshit.
Hey, light hero.
Are you fucking kidding me right now? Bruh. Bruh.
Any trier, so I can still get her in this area.
Dude, fall damage. Are you kidding me, bro? Absolute fall damage. Are you serious right now?
I call hacks too.
Jeez.
That was bullshit.
Ugh, fall damage. Really, dude. Really. That's the best way to go in this game, man. I love it so much.
Yeah. And here's our Charmeleon. Hell
Now
yeah,
that I'm
dude.
playing really well, I could maybe catch a dub, but it's late. I should lay down. I want to be productive in the morning.
Neat.
Means I'm gonna host this smelly bitch. See, oh no, Gur probably could use some viewers. What are you doing,
Like-
Gur?
Pokemans. I got 8 people here.
Pokemans. We're gonna host Gur. All right, everybody. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Once I wake up, I'm gonna eat breakfast and we're gonna record some Malzar reacts. Then we'll chill for a bit and record some. I'll run downstairs and record some Frieza reacts and a Frieza and Zarbon reacts. And then I'll come upstairs and we'll edit a video for each channel. Yeah, yeet. Later, Gators. Go show Gur some love. See you tomorrow morning.
I didn't
Do
say that. I came out here to do this real quick.
you believe in life after love, Mark?
Oh, looks
I
like
believe
someone's
in a lot of
hosting you.
things, Mainly me.
Giggity.
floating in
69.
all directions.
69. Giggity.
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 Tits man or an ass man?
It happened again. That
Both.
Pushiana just barely survived. You're the one who got knocked.
You tits man or an ass man? Both. Good times, good times.
You bastard. God damn it. Oh my god, this is such an ass. RNG is being a dick, guys.
If you're not 13, Elijah, you cannot come to the Discord. Just saying.
Well, you're the one who got knocked. Level 18. Good shit.
Ow.
Yeah, once this thing hits around the same level that my Quilava's at, we'll swap out the Quilava. Because this Charmeleon stats are way better. Luckberry. IV watch. Neat. I know, right? RNG was being a dick. It'd be like that sometimes. Kill Charmeleon. Togepi needs to be swapped out.
I'm not always mean to you, Caboose.
Oh fuck, you bastard.
Oh my damn! Did you see that damage?
Don't worry about it.
I think I overkilled him.
Charizard's level 36. I just want to switch out my friggin' Togepi. Okay, thank you. The RNG gonna be a dick.
God damn. Night, Kieran.
Cool. Alright. Steel capsule. I think that is that the thingy that makes it so I can change abilities? Pretty sure it is. It is. Ooh.
Shit.
Probably save that for someone else then. I think Pikachu can get lightning rod, question mark. I hope that's what that egg is that I have. We'll find out later. For which game, Dylan?
Ow. Leave that cloud alone.
You can't stop the beat or the motion of the ocean to the beat of a heart. I don't remember the words, but Hairspray is awesome. Watch that today. What level is that? 26, I think?
Time to fuck him up.
26. Oh, level up you more. Give that.
Oh, they should get Yuffie because Bush Ninja. You know what? I think you're right, Angel.
Hashtag Bush Ninja in the chat, please. Thank you. For CL's side, I guess.
Bush Ninja.
Ow, that hurt. Fuck. Gotcha. Hey, it does get lightning rod. Okay, so I will save that skill
I see you,
capsule.
Marcel. Calm yourself.
That will come in handy later. I also have a
Super
Thunderstone.
speeding through the whole game, dude.
Huh?
What are you super speeding through the whole game?
Kinda. Like this is for the most part just grinding at the moment. Because I'm trying to get a Charmeleon stronger.
I've been playing Pokemon Yellow on my 3DS, which I'm probably gonna play in bed, maybe. See. Yeah, I'm gonna head off though, y'all. It's
Oh
late.
look, a Taylor. Don't need it
Lay
though.
down, get some sleep here so I can get up in the morning, get some stuff done. I'll see you guys tomorrow, though. Right then. Okay, night.
Later.
Later.
Yep, see you tomorrow then.
Let's see if we can get ourselves a you.
She's descended from the trees. Awesome. Hi, Crossy. She's the one who got knocked. Okay. Keep that XP coming.
Vocal Tordley. I don't even have their. Ooh,
Yeah, grinding definitely sucks.
We're gonna find her. We're back on the grind.
21. Kadabra. Bastard. Holy crap.
Because it's not that hard of a name to say.
RNG's kind of being a dick right now, guys. You know what I mean? But, level 20 Flappy, 2. And do I have any? Don't. I can heal.
Whew. I hate these guys that turn you to stone.
Don't worry about it.
I know I got Fury on, but whatever.
Feels so disrespected. The Mark rated with like 69 people, and then maybe like 3 of them stayed. The disrespect. What do he got that I ain't got?
I got raided by a bridge, and only like a few people stayed. Fucking! This is gonna be one of them fucking fights, isn't it? Or not fights, but
Yeah, what does Mark got that I ain't got? Huh? 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 Nothing. Right.
dude, can't we? I hate the counter. Like when they're using the skill, this counter still goes down.
What time is it anyway?
12:30.
That's not. I need to go beat Whitney to get that tree. It'll be fun. July it won't be fun.
Eat lightning pitches!
Level 23. Or 22 rather.
Do I need to get out? God damn it! Someone didn't tell me that.
Hey Keon. You can compare their stats real quick.
Fuck, 2 of them.
I know both would be awesome. And my Qualaba's still stronger, but not by much.
Y'all are short UPs in this area. Stop, Nola. Okay, just making sure. Should have grinded in the other fucking area because I'm stuck with these.
I know. Proxy's being a scrub. She knows what she did. Okay, that is good to know that Fairy type is in the game, so Metal Claw is going to absolutely wreck their shit. Good. So Miltank is normal type. That's going to be a problem. These Fairy types, oh, screw you guys. Oof. I am not playing with CL. She's here, though. I need to go heal.
I am playing Final Fantasy VII.
What, do you think you're better than me?
The area by the reactor?
Here, go back up here.
I
Go
can
back
get the
up
fuck
here.
over there. Fuck! Not what I wanted to do. Whatever.
Definitely a problem. RNG, please. RNG, please.
I know I need RNG to be nice to me right now.
It's
All right, later, Aaron. Hope you feel better.
it's being a dick to me right now.
Okay, let's. All right, let's play in the forest.
Yeah, RNG's being an asshole.
I need RNG to be nice to me right now. And stop giving me battles with these fucking things.
For Christ's sake. Dude, could you chill with the healing yourself, please? Fuck's sake. Being an asshole. And I don't have any heals to be able to. Maybe I do. One sec.
I am not okay, Raikou. I need Yuffie, so I need fucking RNG not to be a bitch right now.
Well, you're the one who got knocked.
And it's gonna be a bitch. Okay! We can handle this. We can handle this. I can handle the frog. Well, stop taking her shit, Caboose.
Oh my god. Dude, just die already. For fuck's sake. Ridiculous. Freaking mill tank. Stop! Stop! Just die! It won't die. There we go.
Nyah. Fuck you, frogs.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to beat the rest of these guys with just Charmeleon. Oh my god.
Fuck.
Nope, I'm fucked. I'm definitely fucked. I may not be fucked. Ugh. Yep, I'm fucked. That mill tank is the problem. I don't have any
Oh, they're fucked.
fighting Pokemon.
Fuck you! Damn! Your wreck sucks!
Yeah, the mill tank is a problem.
Elijah, I've told you like 3 times now. You need to be 13 to be in my Discord, and you are not 13. Oh, hello, Yuffie! Time to kick your ass. You know what? Let's fuck her up with it free. Found her, guys.
Oh
Now I
my
just
god.
gotta remember how to get her.
RNG gonna fuck. Yeah, RNG's gonna fuck me. Yep, RNG's being a dick.
Well, I know that, Angel. I know.
Yep, RNG's gonna be a dick.
Yeah, you're getting UP or Crossy. Okay. I gotta look at this.
Might as well hatch this egg.
Not interested. Petrified.
Come on, you stupid egg. Hatch already.
There we go. Got her. Do you want me to name her Allie or Crossy?
Hinata,
want?
I guess. Oh, Chimeko, that thing's useless. I don't need you.
Hey, Dylan. You want out? Okay.
Chingling. Go buy more
There we
game
go. We
coins.
got her. Yay! Now I can go back. She reminds me of Hallie too. Yep. All right, now we can go back.
Yeah, we're gonna go for Riolu this time.
Save first. Actually, no. What? Let's put her in the party. We're gonna put her in the party. So, see materia. Let's take.
That's a
So
decent
out.
one. Files. Game. Alright.
Yeah, let's put her in the party.
Did I fuck that up? Okay. I was about to say.
Does anybody in the chat have TikTok? I do believe. Don't you have one there?
Yeah, I don't use it very often though. Kirby Sage. I can respect that. Kirby Sage is pretty cool. Need a-
Shiva.
Give me one with decent stats, please. Oop. That. And
And save. Alright, have fun, Elijah.
those are ass too.
Damn it. Oh, hell no.
Better? Question mark? Let's see.
I actually did not think of that, Angel.
Defenses are shit, but its attack stats are great. Save that one.
I think I only have one male character left, and Mark is getting that one.
Hello. There we go. That. No,
Do
we're
I
gonna need
have
special
six
attack.
male?
So we need to reset again. Just give me a decent Riolu, please. All I want. It does her. Damn it! Come on now.
Who has poison right now? She has? Yeah, she does.
Bullshit. Come on, man. Give me a decent one. Eh.
There we go. Yeah, save is gonna be Mark.
There we go. Much better. Okay. To level up the crap out of that.
Koi was gonna be K6, but I fucked up the name thing.
Oof.
So Koi is nobody. I wasn't gonna end up using K6 anyway.
We need to
God fucking damn it.
level up this Riolu.
That's okay, Koi don't matter. Damn, Daphne.
That's a oof. Big oof. You're the one who got knocked, Giraffe.
Tifa, obviously, Felipe. You're the one who got knocked. Yeah, names were already taken, Caboose. Sorry, bud.
Pulling this thing up is going to be a pain.
Yeah, other than that, Angel, he's kind of useless.
Well, you're the one who got knocked. What are the stats of these? Those
So
two.
you know you have God Mode, right? Help get limit 2 on PS. See, I don't have the PS4 version right now.
Their stats are
I will
kind of
probably
cute.
get the PS4 version, but right now I don't have that.
Welcome back. Hey.
Alright, so now I
Welcome
gotta
back,
go
Alan.
north.
Go down here. At the,
Actually, wait. Whoa, wait.
where the fuck?
Save. And now we move on. I don't play a whole lot of Pokemon, so I can't really say.
What, do you think you're better than me?
Oh, that poison thing will come in handy.
The quicker this thing evolves, the better.
Ow!
Really, RNG? Really?
Yeah, remake is next year. I do plan on getting the original Final Fantasy VII when I get the money to get it
For
for
what?
the PS4.
Why? Don't you already? You already have it on Switch, don't you?
I do.
Then what do you need it on PS4 for? You have it on PC and Switch already. What do you need it on PS4 for?
No, this is PC's version. I do, MU.
I already have Sparkles. I've already done a face review.
PS4 apparently has sneaky cheats to go with it. God damn.
RNG's gonna be a dick again.
No, that is a GUR. Ooh, hello? What are you, precious? Runeblade. That's gonna fuck.
RNG, please.
You know what? Fuck it. Okay, I'll restore. Oh, that didn't matter anyway. Okay, we're good. Hello, gorgeous.
Yeah, but I don't see the point in
We'll take that
having
double
the
jump.
same game on more than one console. It's just a waste of money. For what? Like, she has Final Fantasy VII for PC and Switch already. What she need it for PS4 for?
Because PS4 apparently has perks to it.
I repeat, what's the point in having it for 3 different consoles? For what? waste of money.
Oh, I'm so glad that missed. Oh, snap! Hazard with the resub! Appreciate it as always, Hazard.
Like, come on, Riolu, just evolve, please. Being a dick about it.
I see you, Pokemon the Bomb. You've been noticed. Okay. There's a box up there. I need to get it. Fuck. Who says tell Gur this is fine? Don't worry about it.
What's fine?
I don't know.
Be more specific.
Holy shit! Jesus.
Wait,
You mean Mecca? I think she's strictly going to Twitch now.
does she think she's better than me? Is that what it is?
Hmm?
Does she think she's better than me?
You keep cutting out.
Does she think she's better than me?
Maybe.
Because she's not.
Plus Barrette? What's that? Hello?
Just evolve already.
Alright, later, Pokemon.
What were you? Thing needs to evolve so that it'll even stand a chance. Hey, look, a Ditto. That's mine. Yeet. You fucking kidding me?
Come on, give me my
Gonna be a
heals.
dick?
I need heals! Thank you. Hey, Booyah!
RNG's gonna be an asshole.
Oh, it's reds. Okay.
Alright. Well, ta-da. I probably should have. I mean, there's a,
Hey,
I think, a
nice
name raider up top.
Jurassic got affiliate finally.
Neat. That was quick.
That's because we helped him.
Damn. Poor Joe.
We'll get Joe next. Oh, they're fucked. They're fucked. Bye-bye.
What's the plural of dildos? Or dildo? Is it dildo? Dildos or dildoes? How do you pronounce that?
I don't know.
Never had to pluralize that word before.
I think it's dildos. I do not, Vegito, no.
I caught another ditto just because stats are important.
Do I know what Clannad? Oh my god. I used to play that back when I was young.
No problem, Giraffity. Proud of
I
you.
haven't played Clannad in forever.
I don't even know what that is.
It's an old classic game.
Marielu needs to stop being such an asshole and just evolve already. Can't beat Whitney until I have
I probably should get rid of
Lucario.
that Fury.
Somebody look up, like, does it only evolve during the day? Because if such is the case, that sucks. I know it's by friendship, though.
Do I not have anything to get rid of it? Thought I did. Maybe I don't. Oh, it's that song.
Neat. This thing's almost level 20.
What's up, Gohan?
So it is just friendship, so it's just being an ass. Great. Good to know. Hurry the hell up, then.
Not ignoring you, Edro.
Or maybe she is. What if she is? What are you going to do about it? Nothing, that's right. Damn it. Fuck you, Diglett. Go again.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure she's strictly on the Twitch side now.
I don't know why it won't change it. I keep
Marcel.
like it doesn't give me the option to pick a game on the Streamlabs thing, and I'm not gonna go to you know, friggin' Twitch just to do that. Like it's supposed to exclamation point game.
Ooh, Shiva leveled up. Nice. Leveling up those summons.
Yeah, it's supposed to change it when I do that, but I don't know why it isn't. I need to go back down there. The Pokemon were higher level. Or try to go over here and see what happens.
See. Why do I feel like I came here for nothing?
Because you probably did.
I mean, Twitch is free. The same, come over to the better side.
You won't do it. You won't. Ah. Should be. Nightbot's supposed to be like auto join. I don't know why it's not here then. They stop giving me birds, please. Thank
Fuck, I missed. You come over to Twitch, you support a little bit of money. Some emotes. That's a toughie.
Like, why is my Relu being such a dick? I don't understand. Did I do something to upset him? Where's the chick that?
Also, I can play music without getting caught. The delay is less.
Where's that chick that'll tell me?
Morph Tomberry. Gotcha. How the fuck do I?
I have Pokemon Moon for 3DS. Yes. Can't stream it though, cause buying game capture for 3DS is it has to be like soldered into it and shit. Yeah, I don't have that.
Ow.
Currently trying to raise my friendship on Riolu level. I mean evolve.
I know, I'm going to save first.
Sorry for those of you that have epilepsy and junk.
Will you stop hitting Cloud, you dicks? I'm not here to be Chi-Chi for
Yes, she is. Don't let her lie to you.
Shut up.
Fuck's sake, come on. I'll blood up again. Ooh, bitch.
Oh, now they're gonna attack me. These motherfuckers. Oh, so you're gonna leave because I'm not being Chi-Chi? That's kind of disgusting.
Well, bye, bitch. Don't be like that. Bye. Wait. Later, Phoenix. Thank you for stopping by. Riolu, please. Oh my god. Level 20 and still hasn't evolved yet. This is ridiculous. Please. Why you do this?
What woman's name, Marcel?
What are its stats like?
Hey, Shadow.
Ass. Bad time.
Oh, Mecha.
Seriously, doubt I'm going to be able to defeat.
I can't get this shit right now, or what? Angel. I mean, I don't mind doing my characters, but if you want to give me incentive to do it, donate to my stream. There you go.
RNG, why? RNG, why?
Hello, Mr. Fish Sticks and Felipe. Yeah,
Um,
Angel, I can't get to any of this shit yet, can I? And my fucking fan needs to go on. I'm fucking dying.
RNG, why are you being
Why?
such an asshole right now?
Because RNG's a bitch, girl. I thought you knew this.
It's fucking me over
Okay,
royally
gotta
right
get
now.
high one. Okay. Noted. I am not ready for this fight. Oh, this fight's gonna suck. Okay. Oh, he's already gonna do the fucking son of a.
Yeah, and it wasn't Mark echoing, it's you. You are indeed echoing.
I'm not trying, Echo.
And every now and again, I come through your thing.
Oh, okay, that heal. Okay, noted. Let him one sub, bye, bitch.
Why is RNG being such an asshole right now?
Fuck, do not kill her. And of course.
I'm not gonna win this. No way in hell I'm going to win this.
Okay, so Ifrit heals them. Noted.
Yeah, I'm not gonna win this fight. RNG's being an asshole. Oh my god. Yeah, Ryulu's not strong enough to do it. Quilava and
Fuck him up, Odin!
freaking Charmeleon aren't strong enough either, neither is my Flappy. I've run out of places to grind. This is bullshit.
What?
Once again, it won't let me change the name of my game for some reason. Why, I don't know.
Oh, we leave it to Vincent. Okay, never mind. Vincent's a bad idea. I forgot Vincent has fire. Yeah, I probably should have changed out for this fight. Please kill him. Thank you. Okay. Alright, let's get Vincent back up. Okay, so fire doesn't do it. How about some ice?
I just want my Riolu to evolve. What? Is that too much to
Vincent
ask?
only sucks if I use his limit. As long as I don't use his limit, we're good.
Also, you talk loud as shit, CL.
I know I do, I'm sorry. Ow!
This is riveting, isn't it, guys? Just me running back and forth.
Yeah, that's why I wanted him to die. He needed to die.
Oh my god. Come on. I don't have a soothe bell either. This is ridiculous.
Oh my god, he really does not like Yuffie.
I need to turn you down. Like, holy
Okay.
shit.
Okay. We'll do this without Yuffie. Fuck him.
I need to turn you down. Ay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and end stream because I'm not really doing much. Running back and forth. I'll let everybody.